Let's just talk. It's our new project connecting Coloradans for tough but necessary conversations about the election. And it's the spirit of tonight's show, as we talk about a hidden reason Trump won, about why Jeremy Hohola got up at 3 a.m. to feel like a kid again. We'll talk to the ump from Colorado who called the World Series final out and faded into the background. And let's just say thank you to all who have served so that we're free to fight over this country we love. All that is next. We talk a lot of politics around here, but it's Veterans Day. Politics can wait for a minute, literally a minute, to stop and thank those who have served our country, serving despite the party affiliation of the commander-in-chief at the time. You have a minute, right? We do.
You know, veterans are just regular men and women with one crucial distinction. When the nation needed them, they put aside their own dreams and answered the call to serve as a soldier.
Being out here has taught me that there's a lot of people that hold this day kind of near to their hearts. I'm Colin Lewis and I'm a sophomore at Arapahoe High School. Just decided to play hooky and come play bagpipes at Fort Logan National Cemetery on Veterans Day rather than just sit in school.
You know, veterans are real people with real lives, real families, real hopes and dreams, and we face real challenges.
That it's important to recognize the sacrifice that our soldiers have made, whether they've passed away or if they're still with us. It's important to recognize that they love you and that they've made sacrifices for you. It's your duty to at least be appreciative of what you have and what they've fought for.
If you are a veteran, we invite you to stick around. If there's a veteran in the house, get them near the TV box or give a call to someone some far afield and ask them to tune in, because there are some people in our community who would like to offer a very personal thank you to vets later on next. Coloradans fired a judge. Ain't that some stuff? Very rarely happens. Even the judges who fail their official reviews usually keep their jobs. One of the most requested next stories this year was on why we tend to retain questionable judges. And this week, voters kicked one to the curb. Here's politics guy Brandon Rittiman.
Judge Michael Schifferl in southeast Colorado kept his job with 57% of the vote. But voters up here in the metro area fired Judge Jill Ellen Strauss, thanks to 52% of voters. She'll be off the bench when her term ends in January. Meantime, the state's going to start taking applications soon for her job. So if you've practiced law for at least 5 years and you live in the 17th Judicial District, that's Adams and Broomfield counties, time to polish up that resume.
We issued an invitation to conversation here last night to voters on both sides of the divide, people invigorated and infuriated by the idea of a President-elect Donald Trump. Let's just talk is what we're calling it, and hundreds of you volunteered. So we're hearing not just how you voted, but why you voted the way you did. Common theme is that Trump voters were thinking less of politics or his personality and more making a quality of life judgment. CSU political science professor Kyle Saunders explains.
You come along with me and you become a part of this social movement, then I can make things better. Now, whether or not Trump can do that and whether or not a Republican unified government, which is the result of this, right? You'll have a Republican president, a Republican Senate, and a Republican House. Whether or not the policies they are able to enact actually help those people remains to be seen. But for right now, it worked, and it won an election for it.
So as we look beyond winning elections to how we're going to function together as a country, we want to hear from you. And we want to spark the conversations that seem so rare. Civil discussions between Trump and Clinton supporters. I've offered to set up these meetings, even to come along personally, just to keep the conversation going. Tonight, our first installment of what we're calling Let's Just Talk. Mike Kiffin from Del Norte down the San Luis Valley and Sherry Rail from Arvada. You guys are the inaugural go-around of Let's Just Talk. Thanks for coming in to have a conversation.
Thanks for having us.
So Sherry, you voted Clinton. Mike, you voted Trump. I get the feeling that we're going to have a very different kind of conversation here at this table than the conversations on social media.
Oh, I hope so, yes.
Please.
Let me ask you this. Mike, your candidate won. How do you feel?
Surprised and happy. Biggest thing is when you talk to people in Denver. Denver is the entire state of Colorado. There's a lot of us out there in the middle of the country, in the middle of our state, at the edges of our state. And not everything that happens here is what's happening in those other areas.
What should we know about what's happening there?
The fact that the greater part of my valley has one of the lowest education rates in the state. We need a little bit of extra help.
It's tough.
It's tough. It's tough to be down there. The prices of farm commodities are all down. The price of fuel, luckily, it's down, or else we'd all be screaming and not being able to make it.
I believe he has his reasons, and Trump supporters have their reasons. I understand that. I get that. And I have my reasons, and you're doing what's best for your family and you and in your area, and I'm doing what's best for me and my family in my area. I am a single mom, and I have an almost 18-year-old son, and for me, just knowing that all these Americans, all these people have voted for this man who is, to me, uses such vulgar language, treats minorities and talks about minorities and women in such a way that I never thought there were people like that out there. I don't think that every Trump supporter is a racist or condones all of that. We voted him in, or he was voted in, and now we need to go forward and not make it any uglier than it already has gotten.
We have to be able to talk to each other civilly and to bring ourselves back together. A lot of the stuff she has said today, I agree with 100%.
Mike Kiven and Sherry Rail, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with each other, with me, with everybody else who's watching. We hope that it sparks a lot more conversations like this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like the chance to talk with someone on the other side of this election? All we ask is that you talk civilly, you listen carefully, and you let me come along as a third wheel. It's not about convincing, it's about better understanding, building bridges between the red and the blue parts of Colorado. So let's just talk. I'll sneak in there and listen as well. If you want in, just email us, next@9news.com, or get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext. And again, hundreds of you have already signed up for this. May I make a recommendation where we point you towards something, anything that is not ours, but is worth your time today? We invite you to check out the Associated Press photo gallery that highlights Paris 1 year ago and then again today. Photographers returned to the areas of the city where the terror attacks happened in 2015, and they compared the photos they took then to photos of the same area now. Those photos are compelling. Some of them are graphic, but they are all powerful. The article that goes along with the photos reads, "What they found is that while things will never be quite the same, Paris is still Paris." Next, Jeremy Hohola is working out some issues.
Look at me. I'm a 37-year-old man with a receding hairline. I have gray in my beard.
He's finding comfort pushing familiar buttons. And the Coloradan who was perfectly happy to be nearly invisible on the biggest stage in sports.
I gave my simple out, and I made the final out call of Game 7 World Series.
And veterans, we found some people who would like to have a word with you.
Thank you, vets!
The world got a little more retro today. Nintendo released a classic edition of its mini NES. We're not big on product pitches around here, but this really isn't about the game. It's about the game's effect on people, like our Jeremy Hohola, who woke up super early to snag one.
Look at me. I'm a 37-year-old man with a receding hairline. I have gray in my beard, and yeah, I'm wearing a V-neck sweater. But you know what? I'm not ashamed. Yes, I waited in line at 5:30 this morning to get the new NES Classic with fellow nerds. Why? Because we have a right in this country for nostalgia. It's important for the older gamers like myself to recognize our roots because we have forgotten. Yes, the new games, the VR headsets, the massive multiplayer battles are something else, but we must acknowledge a time in America when gaming took hard work. A time when the princess was always in another castle. Do you know what that did to us psychologically? Do you know? That's a lesson today's gamers just don't understand. It's time to make gaming great again.
That's like my favorite thing. The best seat at the World Series. It did not belong to Bill Murray or LeBron James or any other big-name celebrity. It was actually more of a view than a seat. Because Denver's Chris Ciccione had to stay on his feet the whole time, and he also had to think fast, whether he was behind home plate or first base. He is home now, and he's sharing his unique perspective on a historic World Series.
Some cool things here. This is actually David Ortiz's last game, regular season game in Boston. I worked home plate that game. And then this one here is Alex Rodriguez's 660th home run. He actually came in and pitch hit for Jones there. I'm Chris Ciccione, and I called the final out in Game 7 of the World Series. Well, this definitely takes me back to the little Marvin Park in Salida, Colorado. And not even playing, but umpiring. Like the first time I remember the first time I worked the plate, and I was so nervous I didn't know what to do, but it worked out, and here I am. So bottom of the 10th inning, the Cubs are up now 1 run. Rajay Davis is on first base. Is Rajay Davis going to steal? Some strategy going on. So I'm just standing here kind of observing, looking at the reactions of both teams, Anthony Rizzo and Sandy Alomar, this anxiousness and this nervousness about him in two different ways. One needs a run, one needs one out. And it was a little chopper dribbler to the infield that Chris Bryant had to field, and it was not an easy play. Saw the play happen, I know that what's going to happen, and I take my position in the infield to get my angle at first base, and he slips right before he throws. He releases the ball, and the minute it came out of his hands, I knew it was going to be a good throw. Make sure Rizzo caught it, touched the bag, and the game was over. I just kind of paused, watched Rizzo run towards the celebration, and I gave my simple out, and I made the final out call of Game 7 World Series. I couldn't be working with a better group of guys here. All of them I respect so much, and they're all such great guys, and what an honor to be able to step on the field with all of them. So I'm just so super grateful that I got the opportunity to work it and to be part of it.
What an honor. Chris Ciccione spending some time with his family during the offseason. He'll return to the ump job for spring training. He hopes that his career will one day land him in the Umpire Hall of Fame. The idea of people going hungry because of the weather seems like something from a century ago, but it's happening now in the high country. And the online mystery we're investigating this week is blowing up. Next is Hot on the Case with a new clue. While we sit here loving this unusually warm fall weather, you know, there are people in Summit County who don't just need the snow for skiing. They need it so they can start work, earn a paycheck, put food on the table. Listen, we can't help make it snow, but we can all swing by the 9 Cares Colorado Shares food drive this weekend. It directly helps the food banks that directly help those seasonal workers. Here's our man in the mountains, Matt Renew.
At the Father Dyer Church at Breckenridge.
The Father Dyer Church is 136 years old.
Irene Moyer's been helping feed her community for years.
7 years.
Organizing a food bank and helping with community dinners.
Hearty soup.
Every Sunday night.
From 6 to 7.
As more people move to town for ski resort jobs, November gets busy with around 100 people each Sunday getting a meal.
November is my busiest month. Last year I served 715 people.
But this year, seasonal workers are waiting longer for those checks, and those Sunday dinners are getting bigger.
It's going to double, if not more.
The problem this season? A lot of people have been showing up in resort towns looking to start work for the season. The only problem, winter hasn't shown up, leaving ski areas and many of their jobs closed.
People don't have the work yet because the mountain's not open. They don't have a paycheck.
At the Family Intercultural Resource Center Food Bank in Silverthorne,
the first week in November is always a time of struggle.
Anita Overmeyer says their food stock is low, and they're having a harder time than usual.
And as you can see, the shelves are very empty.
Keeping their shelves stocked.
We're not sure when the resorts are going to open and when that first paycheck is actually going to come in. That's the concerning part right now.
The good news is it's right before the 9 Cares Colorado Shares food drive this Saturday.
It truly makes a difference. It gives us enough food to at least get through November.
Which is a sweet way to help.
But they don't have to go hungry.
So that people like Irene can keep helping others with a little food and a whole lot of smiles. For next.
Oh, yes. And hugs.
Matt Renew.
Hope that I see you at 9 Cares Colorado Shares tomorrow. I'll be out there. Come on out and donate some non-perishable food or clothing now that you know exactly where it goes. No one leaves without a smile. Trust me. Love to see you at any of the 5 drop-off sites around the metro area. We'll be out 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. See you there.
It has been extremely dry across the state, not only up in the mountains, but down here on the plains too. The ranchers, the farmers, just desperate to see some rain around here. We have been going strong 30 days without any precipitation here in the Denver metro area. And you can see up in the mountains, while the skies are picturesque and just gorgeous across Trail Ridge Road, the snow, pretty meager out there. We would hope to get some more, but you can see high pressure yet again centralized across the central portion of the country, and that's going to keep our temperatures warm and the conditions extremely dry for yet again the next couple of days. Tonight, temperatures cool off to about 33. We'll go with mostly clear skies, and then for tomorrow afternoon, it's going to be a warm one. In fact, about 10 degrees warmer than today. Mostly sunny skies from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. You can see as far as the latest snowfall that we have had on record here in Denver, November 21st, 1934. So will Denver see snow within the next 10 days? Will we break that record? You can see the planning forecast showing 60s and 70s in the near future. A slight little cool off by the end of next week, but still, Kyle, it looks like we might actually break that record. And who knows, it might be December before we actually see snow in the city.
Man, all right, craziness. Weird. Danielle, thank you. So the mystery continues as to who runs the City of Denver Instagram account. It is beautiful. It is not at all official, and the city says it can't find the person running the account and using the official city logo. Now, the mystery person replied to our message today saying, well, what would you be interested in doing? Talking to you. That's what we do here on Next. We talk to people. And there are people commenting on that City of Denver photo account saying things like, who are you? And never surrender. We'd love to just talk to the mystery person, find out how this all got started. The city, for its part, wants the official logo down, but they're fine with that person keeping the account. Hashtag HeyNext if you can help us solve the mystery. When we come back, we promise to end your work week as we always do, with something guaranteed to make you smile.
It's an important day in American history, and I'd like to thank all the veterans.
I'm going to tell you what, how I want to think of that.
I served with SEAL Team 5, United States Navy.
I'm going to tell you, they got down with the nitty-gritty and did it.
I go to West Point. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, and I'm just honored to be able to serve along their side.
All my buddies that were in the 206 Transportation Unit.
I served for one purpose. Free America.
So I would like to thank my husband who served in the Marine Corps.
Yeah, because you got down.
So I just thank you for your service, and thank you for now teaching kids as a 5th grade teacher. I think it's a cool transition and being able to be a civilian too.
2, 1.
Thank you, vets!
Thank you for serving this country. Thank you, Grandpa, Dad.
Let's just say thank you, vets.
I'd especially like to thank my father, Joseph Edmundo Martinez, for serving his time in the military. Thank you, Dad. I love you.
Thank you, vets!
A lot of feedback on our Let's Just Talk segment. John and Julie Stark says, loved it, but it should have been longer. Grandpa Stamson says, not enough time. John K said, great idea, but the TV news format doesn't give you enough time for a meaningful presentation. We're going to keep trying. We're going to upload their full discussions, which were much longer, on our YouTube page, which is also where you can watch full episodes of Next. And I'll see you next time.